we've talked a lot over the past 3 days about agriculture, about farming, about all things food. But probably the most important thing for us to understand is the need for farming, the need in areas that are not with lush grass and really underprivileged areas around the world who need to be able to grow their own food. So with me, I've got Brandi DeCarli, who has started what I think is one of the most cool, creative things ever. It's called Farm in a Box. Now, before you think about a box that you would have like seeds in and whatever else, I want you to think about a box bigger than this stage. So, Brandi, tell us about Farm in a Box, how it got started, what you're doing, and why it's important for the planet.
Right, it's a big box.
It's a big box.
We often get compared to the home deliveries, but it's a lot larger
Right.
than that. We basically developed Farm from a Box as a deliverable infrastructure to help strengthen local food production by providing all of those core components needed to start an off-grid 2-acre planted farm in one deliverable system. So we came up with this idea actually when we were doing a project in Kenya. And we were building a youth empowerment center, but using modified shipping containers around a soccer field to bring in the resources that the community was struggling to have access to. And while we were focused on education, health, and sport, it just became painfully obvious that we needed to address healthy food access. So we took that same model that a deliverable shipping container allows, but outfitted it for off-grid food production, and that was how we started.
So what comes to mind is we've started to see around the U.S. lots of quote-unquote urban farms. So people have started them. Some have failed. I mean, if you look at the Las Vegas project, which had huge opportunities, didn't work, and so on. And, you know, I think that this whole idea of putting everything in this shipping container that somebody needs makes a lot of sense. It's just smart versus, you know, waking up one day and say, oh, I'm going to have an urban farm.
We try to take the guesswork out of figuring out what technology and what components are needed. So we kind of refer to it as the Swiss Army knife of sustainable farming, so that there's never one situation that's going to be identical, especially with outdoor agriculture. So we can actually configure the components that come in each one of these boxes. Based on the soil, the climate,
everything.
Exactly.
So what's in a box? If I ordered a Farm in a Box, what would I get?
So just imagine 20-foot shipping container. It's outfitted with 3 kilowatts of solar energy, and so that provides all of the power needed for the farm. It also has a solar-powered pump that can adapt to different water access points, whether that's municipal line if you're doing an urban farm, ground well system, or river if you're in really remote rural areas. It has internal cold storage to keep the crops fresher longer post-harvest. Post-harvest, most crop loss actually happens in field.
Absolutely.
It has water filtration. It has drip irrigation to go out for the entire 2-acre field. It has Wi-Fi connectivity, and we've connected the whole system with a IoT data suite, so we can actually track and monitor everything that's going on the farm remotely.
So this is truly a Farm in a Box that you know, if I wanted to start a 2-acre farm, this is everything that I would need to do it. I mean, and I'm assuming that you're also custom making what's in it based on the soil health, based on the water, based on the environment where this Farm in a Box goes.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because again, the fact that there's never a one cookie cutter solution, that's actually been one of our challenges, is how do we make the system quickly adaptable to all of those different variables that are in outdoor agriculture? So we have figured out a way of basically making it like a Lego solution, so that we can plug in and plug out different components pretty easily to be able to configure it to whatever the user's needs are with wherever they're farming, or whether it's a school, or whether it's a commercial group, or what crops they're farming, because it can support any crop, so there's lots of different variables.
So let's fast forward. You have a number of these out there. What's the kind of results? What are the metrics? What are the problems that you've encountered? You know, give us an up-to-date version. Is this gonna grow to 10,000 farms in a box, or 100,000, or 10?
Yes is the short answer to that. It is absolutely going to grow, and a part of some of the challenges that we've faced so far has been in learning to create that system and design it so that we can quickly replicate it, but make sure that it works for the users. So we'll absolutely get there to scale. We're about to launch our 4.0 unit commercially within the US. But I mean, if we go back to one of your original points in the question, I think One of the challenges has been, how do we work in different soil types? How do we make sure that the farmer is fully supported with all of these systems, and that the technology can actually help benefit regenerative farming practices, which is really important to us. I'll give you an example of where the technology comes into play. Where we're farming with the World Food Program in Tanzania.
And that's a UN-funded program.
Exactly.
So, I mean, what you're doing, sorry to interrupt, but what you're doing is really cool. For the United Nations to write the check for a farm in the box says you're on the right track.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So continue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because this farm is so remote, making sure that the farmers have the support that they need to understand the technology and be able to use and maintain it for the long run is really important.
Sure.
So sometimes things happen, right? A pump may seem like it's malfunctioning, but in reality, when we're able to actually look up our data platform remotely from San Francisco, we're able to see, nope, the pump is working just fine. Actually, it's the water filter that needs to be cleaned. So pull that out, flush it, call us back, let us know if that worked, and everything was completely fine.
And you're communicating them through the internet or by phone or something to say, hey, you know, clean that water pump.
Each box is also Wi-Fi enabled. So it turns the whole farm into a hotspot. So we're also bringing in connectivity, but that also helps with us making sure that we have continual support access.
Well, it's fabulous. I wish I had, 2 acres, then I would buy a farm in a box. If people want more information, where do they go?
We're launching a new website, but go to our website now and you can certainly contact us directly through that. It's www.farmfromabox.com. Twitter, a number of different social media sites. We can contact directly.
So it's farm from a box.
Farm from a box.
So I keep on saying farm in a box. It's farm from a box.
Exactly. And it's easy to think of. We're not growing inside of the container. We're growing outside. So it's a good way to remember
Brandi, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
The work that you're doing is fabulous for the whole planet, for underprivileged areas. And I just wish you continued success and great success.
Thank you. We're really excited about it too.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're going to take a break. When we come back with a lot more from the Fancy Food Show, we've still got hours to go. There's, like 25,000 people here, over 1,400 different exhibitors, and that translates to over 100,000 products. So, hey, you want to be here. And don't forget, there's 2 Fancy Food Shows every year. One in the winter here in San Francisco, and then in the summer in June in New York City. And I expect to see you at both. We'll be right back.